and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Taylor Hierro, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about my 5 favorite books up to this point, February 2020. Okay, so personal development in the past year has become everything to me, and I think it's super important that we're always taking in new information, feeding our brains, and always taking in new ideas, okay? So you don't know what you don't know, as one of my mentors would put it, and I feel like reading books and getting other perspectives and honestly just learning more has contributed to my growth over the past year, and it's something I've always loved to do. I always love to read. So if you're a bookworm and you're into personal development, stay tuned to check out my top 5 picks of my favorite books, and feel free to share your favorites with me. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend if they need an idea on what to read next. And let's get started. All right, guys, so number 1 on my list, let's make this easy, okay? I kind of separated them out of the 5 as far as like spiritual development and some that are a little bit more, I guess I would say, scientific. So we'll start with the very first book that I ever read with personal development is this book right here, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murray. I read this book for the very first time as I was going to school. I had just moved to Dallas on my own. I was going back to school and really figuring out who I was in life. And there was one day at school, I wasn't having the best day, and I literally left school, went to Barnes & Noble, and this is the first book that I had ever picked out when it came to self-help, personal development, and I fell in love with it. I remember being in class and like people would be like, "What are you reading?" And I just could not get out of this book. So The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy, I feel like it's a beginner book into the power of your subconscious mind. It really breaks down the law of attraction, manifestation, really taking responsibility for the results in your life, the power of your mind, what role that plays in your life, which is everything. It's everything that you bring into your life, everything that you perceive, your self-image, your ego. So The Power of Your Subconscious Mind really put a lot of perspective into my life, and it helped me to really define, a changing moment in my life where I feel like I was definitely evolving. I just didn't fully grasp it. So it's something that literally jump-started my journey into personal development. So that is my number 1 pick and the first book that I ever read when it came to personal development. The next one I want to share with you guys is going to be more so pertaining to the mind and your habits. And this right here, guys, this is a gem. This is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. A lot of my friends they were the ones to put me onto this book. I heard about it in a training with one of my mentors. Shout out to Mike Miles. He had referenced it in one of his trainings on a Zoom meeting, and I literally went straight to Amazon and ordered it. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, oh my goodness, he has become one of my favorite people to listen to. If you have Gaia, I would highly recommend checking out some of his videos on there. He is gonna be a lot more into quantum physics and just, wow, really getting into depth with spirituality and you in a spiritual form, okay? So really tapping into frequencies, vibrations, power of your mind, you in a soul essence, okay? So it's a lot more about energy, quantum physics, and breaking the habit of being yourself really puts into depth, we're creators, okay? We are co-creators with the one and only creator, and we have the power to literally change our entire lives, and our lives are made up of our habits, our behaviors, okay? And as one of my mentors, Bob Proctor, would put it, it's a paradigm. A paradigm is a multitude of your habits and behaviors. Breaking the habit of being yourself is literally just, oh gosh, it goes so into depth also with meditation and how meditation puts you into a state of stillness, and it slows down your brain waves. So it really goes into the science of how to break out of habits, what your habits are, and how they literally define your life, because our habits, that's how we make decisions, okay? We have thoughts about our habits. They become literally subconscious, and you do it without any thought. So it's amazing to get into the science of it and really put into perspective, okay, if I knew I had control over my habits and over the results of my life, what would I do differently? So that is an amazing book. That's number 2, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now we're gonna get into this next book. Is written by my mentor Bob Proctor, and it's called You Were Born Rich. Okay, so as some of you may know, if you study Bob Proctor, you know that the book that he has been studying for over 60 years is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which is also an amazing book. I was sitting here like, am I gonna put it in my top 5 though? I don't think I fully understand it, so it hasn't yet become one of my favorites, but it is something that I continue to study. Bob Proctor has been studying that book forever, and in You Were Born Rich, he really puts his perspective, okay? He puts his perspective and breaks down Think and Grow Rich into a way that it's coming from his perspective. And it really puts an emphasis on how we are actually entitled to a life of wealth. It gives you a different perception about money and why you should want more of it, like why you are actually entitled to a life of wealthiness and happy and healthiness. So it's not so much, what to do and action taking, but honestly, it's helped me so much in my business as well. It's taught me, to set big goals for myself, to know that I'm capable of doing anything. Bob Proctor is my top mentor. That is somebody that I definitely define as a pinnacle leader in my life. And I love him. I'm actually being mentored by him right now. I'm in one of his elite programs. So if you guys are ever interested in learning more about that and what my experience was in that, I have a video actually, my Bob Proctor coaching testimony. Feel free to check that out on my channel. And yeah, guys, that's You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. I love it, highly recommend it, and shout out to Uncle Bobby P for literally changing my life. All right, guys, these last 2 books are going to be a little bit more spiritual, okay? So I'm going to start with the first one that I read out of the 2, and that is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this was recommended by one of my other mentors. Shout out to Neno Torres. I was watching his morning Zoom call that he has Monday through Friday, and he literally went into depth on this book, on the 4 agreements. So it's 4 agreements that we live by. Again, it's a lot more spiritual. Okay, so these are kind of like life principles, things to live by, almost like the 10 Commandments, like the 4 agreements. And it puts so much into perspective about, the kind of person that you want to be, these simple rules that if we live by, we can just experience life in a totally different realm, like bliss. And one of my favorite things of this book, this personal growth book, and really diving into spirituality is towards the end of the chapter, one thing that really stuck out to me was the angel of death. And I had an experience actually where not to get too into depth about that, maybe I'll make a video on that. I really felt like I was actually dying. It was a very strange state. I thought I was passing over into the afterlife, and I realized looking back now, I think that was a point where I was literally shedding my ego, a part of my ego, and I was more so in a soul spiritual state. I was very aware of my true self and my true power, and I feel like I was in a state of pure consciousness. So I won't get too much into that. You guys will learn more about that, especially in the breaking the habit of being yourself. You'll learn a lot more about that. But the 4 agreements is something that is so close to my heart. I had a journal entry that I went back and looked on, and it reminded me how much I love it. So I actually might go back and read it next. Okay. And last but not least, I think this is my favorite book to date that I've ever read, because oh my goodness, this also came to me. It was mentioned to me by one of my friends. His name is Clint. We randomly met one night and just ended up having like such a long conversation. We were all up until about 4 o'clock in the morning talking, and he had mentioned this book, The Celestine Prophecy. Okay, it's actually a movie as well, but we all know that movies do not give enough credit to the book. This book right here, wow. It's actually more of a story, okay? So it's more of a narrative story, and it tells the story of a man, and he comes across these manuscripts that are banned by the church. And the reason why is because they believe that people are going to branch off and really just go away from the church, away from authority, away from, this sense of power with the church. It's more so like religion versus spirituality, and how the two are actually, they coexist, and the two together, it's beautiful, the story of the two. So the Celestine prophecy tells the story of a man who really has his own self-awareness journey, but it also has insights. It references insights that you have throughout your spiritual journey. And literally, as I was reading this, I was like, oh my God, I've experienced this. Like, yes, this is so true. As you're truly finding out who you are, you have these circumstances, you have these coincidences, and it really just put into perspective my personal journey as a parent, as a woman, as a mother, as a partner. Like, it really put perspective onto relationships. So this all around is just life-changing. I fully believe that anybody who comes across this book, it is heaven sent. Like, there is no coincidence that you're reading this book. So the Celestine prophecy, literally, it just left such an imprint on my life, and is definitely my number one book right now. Shout out to the Celestine prophecy. The movie is also very great, but again, it doesn't beat the book. All right, guys, those are my top 5 favorite books up to date as of February 2020. Please leave a comment in the comments. Let me know some of your favorite books. If you've read any of the books that I listed, please feel free to share with me any feedback you have, if you read these books, your insights. Share with me your perspective and what you like best about it. And then, of course, please recommend a book to me, because I am a bookworm. I love to read. I love to learn. I really enjoy personal development. So if it's something along the lines of that, I'm definitely open to it. Thank you guys so much. Again, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And have a great day. Go feed your mind today. Go learn something new. Go learn something new about yourself, about others. And of course, be blessed, be abundant in all you do. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next episode.